Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare. So should I speak in English or French?
English if possible.
Anyone doesn't speak English at all? Okay. So I'll speak in English. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.5.26. Durlasa Muni's life sped. Shri Shukhovacha
Shri Shukhovacha
Atam Barisha Tanayeshu Rajam Atam Barishas Tanayeshu Rajam Samana Shileshu Visrija Diraha Samana Shileshu Visrija Diraha Vanam Visheshatmani Vasudeve Mano Dadhat Dvashta Guna Prabha Shri Shugovacha Atam Barishas Tanayeshu Rajam Samana Shileshu Visrija Diraha Vanam Visheshatmani Vasudeve Mano Dadhat Dvashta Guna Prabha Shri Shukhovacha Atam Barishas Tanayeshu Rajam Samana Shileshu Visrija Diraha Vanam Visheshatmani Vasudeve Mano Dadhat Dvashta Guna Prabha
Shri Shukhovacha
Tabyarishchatanyeshu Rajam Manasilleshu Vishrija Diraha Anam Visheshatmani Vasudeve Mano Dadat Dvashta Guna Pravaha
Shri Shukhovacha
Atam Barishas Tanayeshu Rajam Samana Shileshu Visrija Diraha Vanam Viveshatmani Vasudeve Mano Dadat Dvashta Guna Pravaha.
But the cheese?
Shri Shukhovacha
Atam Barishas Tanayeshu Rajam
Samana Shileshu Visrija Diraha
Vanam Viveshatmani Vasudeve Managadhat Dvashta Guna Pravaha
Shri Shukhovacha
Shri Shukhovacha
Shri Shukadev Goswami says,
Sri Shukadeva Goswami said,
Atha, in this way, Ambarisha, King Ambarish, Tanayeshu, unto his sons, Rajam, the kingdom, Samanashileshu, who were equally as qualified as their father. Visrija, dividing. Dhira, the most learned person. Madhavendra. Vanam, into the forest. Vivesh, entered. Atmani, unto the Supreme Lord. Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva. Mana, mind. Dadhat, concentrating. Dwashta, vanquished. Guna Pravaha, the waves of the material modes of nature. Translation is proposed by Srila Prabhupada, 26. Srila Shukadeva Goswami continued, thereafter, because of his advanced position in devotional life, Maharaj Ambarish, who no longer desired to live with material things, retired from active family life. He divided his property among his sons, who were equally as qualified, and he himself took the order of Vanaprast and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully upon Lord Vasudeva. Purport. As a pure devotee, Maharaj Ambarish was liberated in any condition of life because, as enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami, a devotee is always liberated. Ihayasya hare dasye kamana manasagira nikilas vayapya vastasu jivan mukta sochate. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami thus instructs that if one's only desire is service to the Lord, he is liberated in any condition of life. Maharaj Ambarish was undoubtedly liberated in any condition, but as an ideal king, he accepted Vanaprastha's order of retirement from family life. It is essential for one to renounce family responsibilities and fully concentrate on the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Therefore, Maharaj Ambarish divided the kingdom amongst his sons and retired from family life. So this is the happy ending. And in Krishna consciousness, it's always an happy ending. So here, Srila Prabhupada quotes actually the Naladiya Puran. This verse is from Naladiya Puran. Ihayasya hare dasye. And whichever condition the devotee finds himself into is liberated. Nalayana parayana sarve nakutasana bibyati. Wherever he may be, provided we are Krishna conscious. So what is the demarcation? How can we know if we are Krishna conscious? That's the question. So we can be interactive. What is the, there are many criteria, obviously. Please, dear audience, what will be the criteria? Well, I'm Krishna conscious, Prabhu, can't you see? Yes.
I read that you can only follow the 4 principles only by being Krishna conscious.
Yeah, it's very good. Very good criterion, definitely. Yes, Prabhu.
To be averse to sense gratification and especially lust.
To be free of lust, calm, yes. Definitely it's one of the prerogative. If we can free from lust, it's a sheer sign of advancement. In the same line of thought, there's another one that comes to mind. Rupa Goswami says in Upadeshamrit, if we are free from the propensity to criticize others, that's another sign. Another one from Chaitanya Charitamrit, Atmen Nidya Pritivansha Bare Karikam, Krishna Nidya Priti Icha Dare Pramanam. As long as we try to enjoy our senses, we're not Krishna conscious. As soon as you try to satisfy Lord Krishna's senses, Dare Pramanam, it holds up Pramanam. And this is obviously according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, a very clear cut demarcation. It's not a matter of knowledge, Nayamatma Pravachanena, Labyo, Nabedaya, Nabahuna Shrutena, nothing to do with brain power, even much hearing. This is the demarcation. We may be illiterate even. As soon as we want to enjoy, we want to make Krishna enjoy his own senses, in Rishikesh, this is a clear sign of, at least we are willing to become Krishna conscious. So in one sense, did Maharaj Ambarish had to retire? Was it a sign of advancement for him to retire? Maharaj Ambarish, specifically Maharaj Ambarish. Was it a sign of advancement for him to retire from family life? Yes, Prabhu.
In his case, Prabhupada describes that in any condition he was a pure devotee, but he retired from Grihastha life just to set a good example. So in his case it wasn't really like it.
This kind of, thank you Prabhu, this kind of Rajarishi, King Priyavrat, Maharaj Ambarish is in Gita it's mentioned Matpara. He's a Matpara devotee. Matpara means the highest order of devotee. It's Mahabhagvat. So by all means, he doesn't have to. Just like King Priyavrat, remember? 5th canto. King Priyavrat is, just his reign. You know how long he reigned for? 1 billion.1 years. Just his reign. You understand? It's not Louis XIV. It's a different league. Maharaj Priyavrat. He's the one who divided with his chariot. He divided the 7 islands. And you know this, on Jambudvip, there's 7 islands. We are in Central Island, Jambudvip. It is interspersed with different types of concentric oceans. The one that we know is salt water, but you find further out other concentric dwips. It's called dwip. Dwip means island. And then again, another concentric ocean. Dut, milk ocean, liquor, dahi. So all these rings with the wheels of his chariots, he cut out all these demarcations within Bhumandala. Just imagine his magnitude as a king. Srila Prabhupada explained this is the most illustrious family, dynasty actually. So this king, Maharaj Priyavrat, who is Maharaj Priyavrat? Is the eldest son of Manu. Adi Manu, Swayambhuva Manu. We are at the dawn of creation. And his guru was Narad Muni. Do you think Narad Muni is going to tell him to enter Grihastha life? No, Narada Muni obviously is the apostle of Bhakti. Nivritti Marg is the embodiment of Nivritti Marg, Narada Muni. Sheer renunciation. So obviously he told his young recruit, Priyavrat, you retire. And he didn't even enter Grihastha life. And of course, Maharaj Priyavrat had a very deep disposition towards renunciation. So it was not difficult for him. But further down the line, who was his younger brother?
Uttarapada.
Very good, Prabhu. Yes, Uttanapad. Uttanapad is the father of Dhruv. Very good. So, and of course, he ruled for a long, long time. Long time. But at one point, this is the state of affair, the modus operandum of a Raja Rishi. No matter how successful he is, spiritually or materially, he will retire. Even Kardama Muni. Can you imagine Kardama Muni? He had, who is his son? Kapiladev. Is Kapiladev Jiv Tattva? No. Is Vishnu Tattva. He's got God as a son. How can you be better graced by destiny than this? Still every time. But how deep it is ingrained, this Vanaprast. Vanam, Udvam, Vanam, what is that verse? Pancha Udvam Vanam Rajat. At 50 we should go in the forest. Some of us kind of deplete from that, unfortunately. Because we are basically, we are Kali Yuga products. So to go back to Priyavrat, Uttanapad retired. Remember his son, Dhruv? He was blessed by Lord Vishnu. His name was, what is his name? The particular incarnation of Lord Vishnu that appeared to Dhruv? Prishnigarh. He ruled for 36,000 years. So in the meantime, his father Uttanapad retired. Then there's no king for the whole kingdom. And bear in mind, what we are talking about kingdom here is totally different from the conception of the earth that we have today. See, you have to understand the geographical conception of life expands according to your consciousness. When we say the earth now, we're referring to this globe that we know, we learned at school. It's about 8,000 miles across diameter. But as you go back in time, further back, the consciousness of the kings was so great, they were ruling on a much greater expanse of land. Just like Maharaj Yudhishthira, remember? During his Rajasuya Yagya. Who came to this Yagya? Very illustrious personalities. Shiv, demigods came. So already Maharaj Yudhishthira, when he's saying he's ruling on the planets, we have to understand he's ruling on Jambudvip, the whole Jambudvip, the whole Dvip. The whole Jambudvip is divided into 9 varshas. We are only 9, we are 1/9. Bharatvarsh, we say. And even that Bharatvarsh is still divided into 9. So you can see our conception of the earth is extremely narrow-minded. People have lost touch with Vedic paradigm, with Vedic culture, with Vedic genealogy, cosmology. They have lost touch. They are totally in limbo. People are not even aware where we are in the creation. There is little Mars there, moon. By the way, moon is twice as big as the sun. Where did we learn that in our schools? If you tell someone in the street, moon is twice as big as the sun, what will he say? See?
It's nonsense. What about the eclipse?
So, you know what I'm saying? Everything is topsy-turvy. So back to Priyavrat. So, Uttanapad, retirement, Vanaprast. There is no ruler. It's a big thing. So Swayambhuva Manu comes in, father of Priyavrat. He had Priyavrat, Uttanapad, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. Those 5 personalities make up for the whole genealogy of Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything starts from those 5. Very simple. So Uttanapad is out, retired, no ruler. Swayambhuva Manu comes in. He tells his eldest son Priyadat, please step in. You have to rule. Who is his guru?
Sorry, who asked him to go in the first place to rule the kingdom?
Swayambhuva Manu, his father, asked Priyavat
Okay.
to please step in because his younger brother stepped out.
For the ruling.
Yeah, for the ruling.
Okay.
He checked with his own guru, Maharaj, Narayana Muni. What do you think was going to be the answer? Well, no, but you are good at being a renounced person. You carry on. Who comes in on his swan carrier? Brahma. Can you imagine? Pitamaha is the eldest. He comes down on this one. So much the matter is serious. Everyone is there. Swayambhuva Manu, Narad, Priyavat. Everyone steps up because Brahma is coming. The eldest person in the universe, most qualified, the most advanced person. And he's going to tell, what do you think is he going to line up with Narad? Or is he going to line up with his son, Swayambhuva Manu? So let's take the bet here. He's saying he's going to line up with Narad Muni. Who's saying the contrary? Yes, Prabhu?
You have to persuade him to rule.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm mistaken. I think
Yeah, he's going to line up with Swayambhuva Manu. So Narada Muni, that is his father speaking, so immediately he keeps quiet. So all this to say that for the sake of setting a good example, for the sake of perpetuating the Krishna consciousness throughout the universe, whatever it takes, you have to do it. Srila Prabhupada used to say, utility is the principle. This battle of Kurukshetra, how many people died? Roughly? For the sake of what? According to Mahabharata, 54 crores. Crores means 10 million. Talking about 540 million people died. Battle of Kurukshetra, 18 days. For the sake of what? What was the purpose behind of Lord Krishna's? Many purposes I know, but one purpose in regard to today's class. Yes, can you imagine? Just to set up one person, qualified person, 54 crores people die. 540 million people die just for the sake of enthroning one person. So you can already hear the contenders telling Lord Krishna is so unfair. One person and is behind the killing of millions of people. So how do you reconcile this?
They were demons.
Sorry?
They were demons.
Yeah, that's obvious. I mean, not all. Some people on the side of Pandavas died also. Okay, that's one outlook. Okay, granted. Anything else? How can? Because this is theology. Immediately someone will jump to hasty conclusions. Who is your Lord Krishna? To re-enthrone one good king, you're going to kill 540 millions. So, what else can we say? Yes, Prabhu?
No one died.
Yes. Why?
Because the soul cannot be killed.
Excellent. I would say this is even more grounded reason. Thank you, Prabhu. What to speak of dying in the presence of the Lord? What is the outcome of that? Even if you are an enemy?
Liberation.
Liberation. At least minimum they go to Soyalo. And some will be even liberated. So that is why Lord Krishna doesn't... anyone on the spiritual platform will not reason the same as we do. For us, Pancha Udvam Vanam Brajet, it is a must. Srila Prabhupada mentioned over and over again, especially for a man person, for a man. It is vital to finish his life alone. We should not hang on to the wife forever, even if it is a good wife, even if it is a Krishna conscious wife. Why? Yes, Prabhu.
Attachment?
Yes, attachment. Okay, anything else? Why shouldn't we, as a male, shouldn't we remain in a married life, even if the Krishna conscious marriage is Krishna conscious by definition? Prabhu mentioned, due to attachment, we should break away from this attachment, right? Anything else?
So that you can dedicate more to the service of the Lord.
Yeah. And also because it's... Yes, thank you, Prabhu. This is Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajajitaha Janatya Shuviragam Gyanam Chayare to come. It is a must. And whether we want it or not, as long as we are identified to some extent to the body, it is some kind of a predicament. You know. So at the last leg of our life, especially around 50, but I mean, in ISKCON 50, unfortunately, it happens, yes, but some people get remarried at 50. So whatever the case is, we should dedicate and we should plan with the wife. This is not something we should just do it abruptly on the spur of the moment. Oh, by the way, I'm leaving next Monday. No. It has to be, actually, doesn't mean we take sannyas, be careful. Talking about Vanapras here today. Yeah? But we should break away. It's vital for a man to do that. Because he wants to concentrate fully and wholeheartedly on Lord Vasudeva. And even, like we discussed, even devotees who don't need to do it, Maharaj Ambarish, Priyavrat, Yudhishthir, do they need? They are Vishnu Parikar. Vishnu Parikar means they are companions of the Lord. You understand? They are Parshad, means they are companions. Astra. Sango Pangastra Parashadam. Mahaprabhu didn't come with rifles. No, he came with, what is this Astra? Parshadas. Sango Pangastra. Parshadas means companions. There is Astra. They can liberate the universe in the twinkle of an eye. These persons. They are companions. Vishnu Parikar, Vishnu Parashan. So, whichever, like we say, whichever condition they are in, they are Krishna conscious. But that is not our style of affair. For Vanashram Dharma is for us. Of course, you may say, well, what is the counter-argument to that? Krishna says, 413, Shatu Vanamana Shishtam, Guna Karma Vibhagasha. We have to stick to Vanashram. Vanashrama Shalaveta, Purashana Parapuman, Vishnu Puran. This is the only way, some Siddhi Haritoshanam, this is the only way to fulfill Vishnu, to please Vishnu. So now I'm going to be the devil's advocate. I will tell you, Vanashram is not part of Bhakti Anga. Is Vanashram part of 64 Angas? No. So why make so much fuss about Vanashram then?
To keep the society in a stable way.
Yeah. To stabilize the society, to set up a good norm. Srila Prabhupada one time was walking in one of his temples, followed by some devotees, and one devotee is mopping the floor. And he's not doing a good job. start mopping the floor. So Prabhupada grabs the mop, is mopping himself. Then he stops and he looks at his devotees, he says, did I become a mopper? Did I become a mopper? So devotees are baffled a little bit. He say, no, I didn't become a mopper, but I'm showing him how to mop. So in the same way, we ISKCON devotees, we don't identify to Varnashram, yes, but we are still following it for the sake of setting up the norms. That's like the safety net. Prabhupada used to say, a safety net. What is a safety net? You know, when you do in the circus, all this, you have seen those artists, they jump, they leap very high under the circus. There's a safety net. Did you notice? So in case they miss, if they fall, they don't break their bones. So in the same way, Varnashram is the safety net of human society. If there is no safety net, like it is today, what is the outcome? It's Narapashu. Narapashu means, Dvipashu means two-legged animal. It's a two-legged animal society. We may find some, well, you may say, Prabhu, there is, you find administrators in Elysee, you find Vaishyas tilling the land, you find bankers, you find Shudras working in the factories. So there is some vestige of Varnashram. But is this Varnashram sufficient? There's different types of Varnashram. There's 4 types of Varnashram actually. Prabhupada was in Moscow, remember? He spoke with Kotovsky. And even there's a Varnashram. But Varnashram can be Devi, can be Asuric, can be spontaneous Varnashram also, and can be Srila Prabhupada's Varnashram. There's 4 types of Varnashram. Let's go through a little bit. When we hear Devi Varnashram, what does it mean? Devi Varnashram. Oftentimes in the books of Srila Prabhupada, we hear about Devi Varnashram. What is it?
It's the original one.
Yes, Prabhu?
It's the original one, like what we read in the Shastra. Like, we talk about Kshatriyas, we talk about Brahmanas, we talk about Shudras and Vaishyas and their occupation, what exactly.
Yeah. What is the goal of Devi Varnashram? You're right, Prabhu. Exactly right. What is the goal of this Devi Varnashram? Some Siddhiya Haritoshana.
In the center.
Samsiddhya Haritoshana.
Some Siddhiya Haritoshana. Now you understand why I call my son Haritoshana. Because yes, wherever you are in this 4 Varnas and 4 Ashram, you have to please Vishnu. That's Devi. What is the basis of one's Varna in this Devi Varnashram? How people fit into those different Varna and Ashrams according to Devi Varnashram?
By qualification.
Yes. Guna karma vibhagashaha. Right? According to nature, according to one's work. What are they doing every day, those people within Varnashram Dharma? What are they doing? What kind of activity? In terms of spiritual pursuit, what are they trying to achieve? What kind of yoga they practice? Karma yoga. Good today. They are quite empowered today. They practice karma yoga. Nishkam karma yoga. Yat kaloshi, yajashi, yajuoshi dadasya, yat tapasi sakonteya, tat kurushva, madhav. Whatever you do, arpanam. Do it as an offering for me. You eat, you offer charity, you practice austerity. This is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So, for eons of time, when we refer to Devi Varnashram, what people were doing? They were just doing Nishkam Karma Yoga, which is great. But Nishkam Karma Yoga will take you to Bhakti Yoga without fail. Right? What is the highest position within Devi Varnashram? What is the highest position you can attain within Devi Varnashram?
Sannyas.
Yes, Prabhu?
Sannyasi or Maha, of course. Devotee, but sannyasi.
Sannyas. Well, even higher, you can become self-realized. Through the practice of Devi Varnashram, you can become self-realized. Self-realized means Brahmabhut, Nirgun. You're no more under the purview of the modes of nature. Is everyone eligible to that position in Devi Varnashram? If you're a Shudra, if you're a Vaishya, can you access to self-realization? Yes.
How the Shudra is not going to get into it, right? He's only serving the three other.
Yeah, but by dint of serving the other classes, by dint of serving the other classes, the Shudra is not barred from practicing Nishkam Karma Yoga at home. You know what I'm saying? So he can also access to self-realization. We can access to self-realization even through Nishkam Karma Yoga. Look at the position of Janak Maharaj in the third chapter of the Gita. What is it mentioned there? Krishna says, Janak Maharaj has accomplished the most exalted position by dint of practicing Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga means dovetailing your activities to Lord Krishna. He became Mahajan. So everyone is eligible. And another feature of Devi Varnashram is that everyone assists each other. Assist each other. People will not look down to you because you are a Shudra or even a Chandal. You are being assisted within the Devi Varnashram. So now I just want to stress on Asuric Varnashram. What we are going through today is Asuric Varnashram. Why? What is the goal of today's Varnashram in human society around the world? Not only France. What is their goal? Because apparently you find Shudras, workers in the factory, you find Vaishyas tilling the land, you find mercantile community, bankers, you find Kshatriyas, administrative army, etc., navy, air force, and you find intellectuals, teachers, priests. So you find somewhat the Varnashram. What makes it a Surik? Yes, Prabhu.
It's because it's for a materialistic purpose.
Yeah. The goal for them, is to organize an orderly society. They want order. But what is their intention is to promote social prestige. To help people advance to higher material conditions of life. That's why you are told as a child, please go to school, university, high-grading university, so you can get a good career, so you can be happy, rejoice in materialistic pursuit. What is the basis of one's varna in Asuric Varnashram? In other words, how do they differentiate the classes?
Might is right.
Yes, might is right, exactly.
Might, material intellect.
Yeah, material intellect. Even in India, parentage, Jati Goshaya, Smartavidi. Smartavidi means caste conscious. If you go to Puri, will they let us enter inside the temple? No. They will say you are Videshi, you are white. Is it Goswami Vidi or Smarta Vidi, this consciousness? Smarta. Prabhupada didn't enter in Puri because he said, unless you let my devotees come in, I will not step in. It's Smarta consciousness. You cannot criticize, they are pandas, but we cannot deny it's Smarta consciousness. If they discriminate on the basis of color of skin, that's Smarta. Jati. What do? Karma. They are not engaged in karma yoga like us. Karma means, and when I say karma means, for those who are well situated in India, the smarta follow karma kanda, that's karma. They follow the rules of Vedic scriptures. But for us, for them, it's vikarma. They do ugra karma. In the name of Varnashram Dharma, they're going to do ugra karma. Ugra karma means actions which are prohibited in the Shastra. They eat meat, they tend to exploit others. The elections recently were rigged. There's at least 500 evidence. It has been rigged for 40 years. Everything is rigged. So everything is based on cheatings. You know, this is Asuric. Now let's move, because it's running out, towards Srila Prabhupada. What is his implementation of Varnashram, Srila Prabhupada? We may say, well, it's Devi. But it's more than Devi, actually. How did he apply, in his unique way, Varnashram Dharma in ISKCON for modern age, because Prabhupada was the Acharya of the modern age? What is his application of Varnashram within ISKCON? Because he's dealing with all kinds of people. He's dealing with Indians, which are Paka and perhaps coming from smarter background. He's dealing with people who are coming from the gutter of material existence. He's dealing with all kinds of people. So how did he work out his application of Varnashram? Yes, Prabhu.
In the Devi, how is it called already? Devi?
It's called Devi in his books. Definitely, Srila Prabhupada refers to Devi. We cannot deny. But
I think he's quite new, so he doesn't know the.
Yeah, Devi something.
oh, sorry, I didn't hear.
There is Devi. And
Devi means divine.
And the other word, Devi.
Devi Varnashram is the first one I described.
In Devi Varnashram, are they chanting the holy name?
Not necessarily. See, this is a very good point. This is a very good point. Thank you, Prabhu, to put me on the track. We shouldn't be thinking that in the days of yore, you know, when they were doing Devi Varnashram, they were necessarily chanting Hare Krishna. No, but at least they were doing Nishkam Karma Yoga. Madhapanam, whatever you do, whatever you offer, whatever you eat, offer it to me, Lord Krishna says, or Lord Vishnu. That's great. But Srila Prabhupada went further. Because sometimes devotees will say, well, Prabhupada, this priest, Indian priest, asked me, what is my gotra? Because in India, you know, everyone belongs to a gotra. There's Saptarishi. There's 7 rishis in the sky. Everyone comes from one of the 7. Very simple. Gautam, Bharadwaj, Vishwamitra. Whoever is in this universe comes from those 7 sages, Saptarishi. In India, they're very expert. I'm from Gautam Gotra. I'm from Bharadwaj. I'm from... Right? So where do we stand as whites? What is our Gotra? They were asking Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, what is our Gotra? Prabhupada said, Achyuta Gotra. Mamemamcho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. So our Gotra is, we are claiming inheritance from the Father. Aham bija pradapita. We are claiming inheritance from Lord Krishna himself, Achyut Gotra. We are Achyut Gotra. What is our activity in ISKCON? Is it karma? Is it vikarma? Is it karma yoga? See, you can see the genius of Srila Prabhupada. He designed his sadhana in such a way that it's neither of those 4, it's a karma. As soon as, again, the demarcation in the beginning of my class was Atmaniriya Priti Vansha Taribari Kam Krishnaniriya Priti Icha Dari Pramanam. This is the demarcation for us in ISKCON. Are we trying to satisfy your senses, or are you trying to satisfy Krishna's senses? As soon as you try to satisfy Krishna's senses, it becomes a karma. A karma means it's karma free. It's even much higher than Devi. When he says follow Devi in his books, he's not necessarily speaking to his current devotees. You understand? He's speaking to the whole world for 10,000 years to come. But what he expects from us, apprentice Vaishnava, is a karma. The goal, what is the highest position? Premi Bhakta. It's not even self-realization. He's pushing it further. Prabhupada is, no, not only self-realized, become a pure devotee. So the expectation that he has for us is even beyond Varnashram, beyond Devi. And further down, who is eligible? Who is eligible? What is the adhikar for this kind of Prabhupada's Varnashram Dharma application? By means of Yukta Vairagya, everyone. Everyone. You can be anyone. I've got a friend in India, he's a millionaire. He drinks everything that you may think of. But he's somewhat Krishna conscious. He likes to give money to his ISKCON, and each time I see him, the other day I saw him when I was in India, he has a big 5 factories, he's loaded. And I told him, oh, you have success, because I could see in front of his factory, he's got like 5, 6 tulisis running wild. So I told him, wow, now I understand why you have so much success. Because you have tulisi. Next minute he calls, he said, please plant 20 tulisis. he calls his secretary, plant tulisis everywhere. Of course, he doesn't practice much, but I'm preaching to him, my wife also. So we are teaching him Yukta Vairagya. Do something with your money. Do something with your money. He has understood. I have to do something with my money. Otherwise, I told him, this money is going to load you down to Narak. You're going to Narak. Narak means hell. You're so much loaded that Krishna blessed you, but it's a curse in disguise. You have to reform immediately by... It doesn't chant much, I know, because it's got bad habits. But gradually I'm trying to put him on the trail, on the track. Do something, at least 927. Madhavanam, do it as an offering to Krishna. We are teaching him. And who knows, at the end of his life, he's suffering. Of course he's suffering, like any other conditioned soul. Perhaps he will start chanting. We are taking him to Vrindavan, So the goal is Yukta Vairagya. And the goal is to go back to Godhead. This is the unit application of Varnashram according to Srila Prabhupada. So when we say we have to take Vanaprastha, it's a fact. Vanaprastha means retired from family life. Doesn't mean we take sannyas necessarily. Sannyas is a different adhikar, but at least we should separate. Of course, you guys are very young, so don't separate from your wife today. But when the children are big, it's definitely needed. Because it's important for a man to do that. So he can fully concentrate. And he has to surround himself with like-minded devotees. If you take Vanaprastha, you don't hang out with Grihasthas. If you take Vanaprastha, you hang out with other Grihasthas, other Vanaprastha, or sannyas. You know what I'm saying? If you want to remain brahmachari, you hang out with brahmacharis. If you want to get married, you hang out with Grihastha. So, but again, this is the state of affair 26 today. Maharaj Ambarish did it, even though he did not to do it, but he did it for the sake of setting the right example. Yes, Prabhu.
In Devi Varnashram, their action is not a karma?
Not necessarily. At least it's karma. See, we have to, because oftentimes in this country we say, oh, it is a karmi. That's a misuse of the term. First of all, we should not look down on people. I was also in the Gita myself. So, there's 3, according to 4th chapter of the Gita, there's 4 categories. What are the 4 categories of activities? 1, 2, 3. Vikarma. Vikarma means ugra karma. Ugra nationality. Terrible activity. It's prohibited in the Shastra to be discarded. Number 2, karma. Krishna says in the Gita, remember 3:10, 3:11, by mutual reciprocation between the demigods and the jivs and the prajas here, the humans, please offer yagya, yagyoshishte. You offer yagya to the demigods. In return, you will get prosperity, peacefulness, good health. Otherwise, stenahi saha. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you are a thief, Krishna says. You're a thief. So that's karma kanda. When we say karma, is a karmi, actually we are referring, is a karma kandi. It's a misuse of the term. People are not karma kandis. They are vikarmas. But again, we should not finger point because, after all, they are spiritual. And then when you find the devotees are karma. Someone who says 418, someone who says action in inaction, and inaction in action, says really. So what does it mean? Action in inaction. 418. Action in inaction. Action in inaction.
You do something for Krishna, you do something, this is action. But the inaction is that you don't do any, you are not entangled.
Exactly.
And oppositely, you are even liberating yourself because you develop your bhakti.
Exactly. The senior devotee knows. 418. Action, you're very active, but you are inactive in the sense you don't accrue any reactions. You are karma free. You go to the supermarket with your trolley, you're like the guy next to you 1 meter away. You're buying food. He's buying food. What's the difference? First of all, it's veg. This is not veg for him. And you're buying for Krishna. So it's totally a karma. Yeah. And then action in inaction. And then the next line, inaction in action. Krishna says, someone who can understand between the two, action and inaction, which just define, yes. The next one, inaction, inaction. Inaction, inactivity, inaction. What is this? Yes.
To act but not expect results.
Inaction refers to the Mayavadi, the impersonalist. You have seen in India, they wear even the Jain. They have the mask here, just like for the COVID. But they've been wearing the mask for millennia. They don't want even to inhale a mosquito, or inhale an amoeba, or inhale a tiny living entity. They're very careful not to create any pap, any sin. But little do they know, because they are not Krishna conscious, little do they know that when they walk on the road, you may scratch, you may step on a spider or something. There is karma. You follow? So they are boasting, we are inactive. We do nothing. But there is action, sir. Because since they're not Krishna conscious, even though they are veg and everything, but here and there you find little anomalies. They tend to inadvertently to kill living entities. So they are not karma free. They're not bikarma. They're not akarma, sorry. So that is why the only application that Prabhupada was very much keen on, at least for us members of ISKCON, was akarma, yukta viragya, and back to goddess activities. That's even higher than Devi. That is why we should, and we may say, well, I'm on level. Are we on the level of Maharaj Ambarish? No. We're not on the level. So we have to take Vanaprastha. He did it for the sake of showing the example, but for us, it's important because we may have some lingering vestige of attachment to the other gender. It stays with us. So far from eyes, far from mind. If you break away from the opposite gender, when the time has come, not before, obviously, especially when the children are grown, and with the consent of the wife. In ISKCON, you cannot leave your wife if the wife doesn't agree. That's one of the rules. But still, that's needed. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu, for the lecture. So how do we apply inaction in action?
Well, the first one is ours. Action and inaction. All we have to do is follow sadhana and follow Prabhupada. We are inactive, even though we are very active externally active, internally renounce. Externally active, internally renounce. Externally active, internally renounced. You do many things. But since you do it for Krishna, Atmendriya Priti Vancha Taribalikam, Krishna Briya Priti Icha Dare Pramanam. If you do it for yourself, then it's not a karma. You are a neophyte devotee. But if you do it for Krishna, this is a karma. So that's inaction. You follow? You are inactive, but you are very active externally. You do things, but you are inactive in the sense you are karma free. This is 418. This is a karma.
And what is the path to go through to karma to akarma? When is it happening?
Well, for us, we never ask ourselves this question because from day one we've been told to chant Hare Krishna.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you chant Hare Krishna, you bypass all these considerations.
So one time and...
But we should chant Hare Krishna purely.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So our modus operandum is to refine our chanting. Because we chant, but unfortunately, as long as we don't chant purely, we cannot go back to Galet. Mm-hmm. We may be liberated, yes. But you cannot go back to Galet. That is why the fact of being self-realized is a byproduct of pure love of God. You understand? Mm-hmm. Liberation is a big word for them. Mm-hmm. It's a byproduct. Mam Shadyoga Bicharina, Bhakti Yogena Sivate, Sagunan Samatitutan, Brahma Bhuyana Kalpate, 1426. It starts there. Bhakti starts when you are nirgun. We are thinking we are doing bhakti. We are just apprentice. You are the apprentice of a good carpenter. You are learning the job. You're not the carpenter yourself. Please give me the hammer, give me this. We are apprentice. Bhakti starts from nirgun. Beyond the modes. Real bhakti. It's like those little children, they do bicycle, and they both are doing bicycle. But behind the rear wheels, you find those two pending wheels, You have seen? Yeah. So they may be boasting amongst themselves, I know how to ride a bike, As soon as you remove the wheels. So the two wheels are niyam and niyam. Do this, don't do this. They are the two wheels. If you remove the wheels too early, so pure devotee means you drive the bike with no wheels behind.
Whatever the situation, you will not...
Yeah, once you are fixed in Krishna consciousness, you may be a lewd. You won't be a lewd. You may be in the middle of many women. You are steeped in Krishna consciousness. You may be amongst very wealthy persons, preaching to them. You won't be a lewd. But that's very high. So unless and until we are there, we should follow the Vanashram. without identifying ourselves with an ashram. We're not an ashram. We are spirit soul. We are servant of Krishna. So we do it for the sake of properly following the prescribed duties, but within our mind, we are attached to Krishna.
And what Prabhupada said about the importance of not just chanting and following the four principles, but also to have knowledge. Knowledge, I mean knowledge about scriptures and...
Yeah. So you do Bhakti Shastri? You come in my institute, I teach Bhakti Shastri. I teach Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vedanta, everything. You come. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajojitana Janatyasha Viragyam Yanamsha Yale to come. If you worship Krishna, Gyan and Vairagya will come along as a package, as a byproduct. It's like, if you get the mother, you get the two sons. If you have Mother Bhakti Devi, you will get the two sons, Gyan and Vairagya. We don't necessarily over and over for Gyan separately from Bhakti. If you get Bhakti, you get those two in proper dosage. But again, it's laudable on your part to become more conversant with Shastra. Then that's why Prabhupada in 76 he established 4 diplomas: Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vibhav, Bhakti Vedant, Bhakti Savabhum. We have an institute in English and French. You can do. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu, and when you spoke about brahmacharis should associate with brahmacharis, grihastas with grihastas, Prabhupada said that grihasta who has a beautiful wife and is not attached, that he is a perfect brahmachari. And devotees also say that, like, the advanced devotees, they are transcendental. So, like, it seems to be contradictory. Should I renounce the association of the advanced?
Depending on your level of consciousness, Prabhu. If you're a little dodgy in your ashram, better you stick with brahmachari. Like if you stay long in this kind of community, there's many grihastas here. I've seen with my own eyes for the last 40 years, you end up becoming married. If you get on the road all the time, that's safer. So depending what is your pursuit. You may be very Krishna conscious as a grihasta, may be very Krishna as a brahmachari, very Krishna conscious as a brahmachari. You know, how do you want to, you have to double check with your guru, how does he want you to advance in Krishna consciousness?
My guru likes that I'm brahmachari and I like also, but I'm just saying that it seems a little bit that I'm missing something if I just say I do not associate with grihastas because they are more advanced than me.
Who knows? Only Krishna knows. It's difficult to say who is advanced, who is not advanced, because it's not written on your forefront, you know. I'm advanced, I'm not advanced. It's only Krishna knows actually.
Also advance and not advance, I mean, whether you serve Krishna or not, so is there advance or not advance?
We're not really concerned, it's a very good point, we're not really concerned. The main thing is to serve Krishna. Like Bhakti Thakur used to say, draw a conclusion on your deathbed. Don't come to hasty conclusions before you are lying on your deathbed. Yeah. When you are on your deathbed, you can recollect, you can draw a conclusion. Did I take a right decision 80 years ago or 70 years ago? And you're going to see that you are going to reap the fruits on your deathbed. Yeah? Because it accrues now. You're going to reap the fruits of bhakti for 50, 60, 70 years. You know? So it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But again, this is the purport today. We should not linger to the why forever. Especially us, because we are born in the West. But again, it should be done in a mode of goodness. The wife should be ready, the kids should be ready, etc. And after some time, the wife will be happy that you leave her also. Because, you know, she had enough of that guy. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.